Hello folks, my name is Sergii, so happy to be here to present my experience of using two big platforms, I would say, called Databricks and DataFactory. Both platforms are going to be hosted in Azure, and I'm planning to present everything in Azure. My presentation will be focusing on integration between these platforms, and I'll show you how to create a connection, how to integrate, and how to build your own pipelines. Before doing that, let me introduce myself. As I mentioned, my name is Sergii. I'm head of technology at Alex, and most of my time I spend in building different type of architecture based on different patterns, building cloud native, hybrid, serverless applications, microservices, etc. And all of that, most of my experience is related to the Microsoft stack and different type of cloud migration, cost optimization during the migration or after the migration, building applications, etc. And I would say my hobby, I'm playing with IoT and industrial IoT and building this edge application just to extend my experience in this area as well. Also, I do believe a lot of people right now working with AI or touching AI technology, and definitely I use AI in my daily basis, like GitHub Copilot, Office 365 Copilot, ChatGPT, etc. So, and you can see in below, you can see references. It's like my social network. You can connect me, and we will be like a friends. Let me start with agenda. Today I'm going to share a few activities related to Databricks, and you will see what kind of activities in DataFactory we can use to connect and integrate with the Databricks. Also, I'm planning to demonstrate how to create different type of triggering Databricks activities, different compute resources from Databricks. Also, I will touch some triggers from a DataFactory pipelines, how to trigger pipelines based on custom events. And the last but not least, I'm going to show different type of data processing or bulk processing, different scenarios, and you will see how you can manage data and using DataFactory and Databricks together. Let me start with the Databricks activities, what we have in a DataFactory. First of all, I would say DataFactory is a platform. I would say it's like orchestration, or ETL process orchestration. So you can, using low code, you can create own pipeline, connect different sources or services or different systems, and provide ETL process and provide this flow, data flow between different type of platforms. In a Databricks particular, there are 4 Databricks activities. So first of all, it's a notebook. You can execute Databricks notebook directly from DataFactory. So just imagine you have a different type of notebooks, you have a ETL pipeline in a DataFactory, and you can execute some notebook scripts. So you can do it just creating this or adding this activity, and adding some additional information about notebook that you need. I'll show you how you can do it. The second one is about Java files and execution of these Java files. You can trigger these Java files using Databricks cluster from Datafactory as well. Also, we have a job activity. It's a new activity, I would say. Definitely it's still in preview, but you can trigger a specific compute in a data factory called job compute natively from a data factory. Also, I will show you how you can trigger even with a custom configuration. The last activity, this is a Python script that also can be executed in a data factory. And this is simple activity that you need just to show what kind of script you need to execute, for example, for some machine learning process. And that's it. Let's move on. So first of all, what you need to do, for example, you have everything configured in a Databricks. You might know Databricks provides different type of compute resource, for example, shared resource, personal resource, pools, job compute, etc. So you need to configure first of all this everything. Then you need to create a pipeline in a data factory and providing linked service to the Databricks. And this linked service contains some information about authentication, about the clusters that you need to use, and about some additional information about, for example, what kind of environment variables you need to use, what kind of Spark configuration you need to use, what kind of Unix catalog, and etc. So this is everything that you can do like using data factory interface or JSON configuration if you use Terraform, for example. Then this is about custom configuration. So you have everything in place, but if you have some custom stuff, for example, not everything, not all parameters from a Databricks, you can set up in a data factory. For example, if you have a custom policy, and I'll show you how to do it, you should understand the JSON structure logic in a data factory to provide this information. Some parameters even you cannot find in official resources. You might know how to specify the right name convention of these parameters in a data factory to set up parameters from a Databricks. So let me move to the my environment. So here you can see, first of all, let me show you. So this is Azure. We have a few resources, Databricks resource. We have a SQL server with database. We have a storage account with some tables and blob containers, and we have a data factory itself. So let me open what I have here in a Databricks, simple all-purpose compute resources, shared resources, nothing special, provide all of this information, running all the time. And also I have a SQL warehouse, I have a serverless warehouse, just example how we can use Delta Share to get data from Databricks to Data Factory. So let me start with the data factory itself. Let's go to our data factory. Let me open it. Launch Studio. And let's create a simple pipeline. So here, editor, you can see factory resources, you have a pipeline, data sets, data flow, Power Query, etc. So everything you can use in your flow. So I'm going to create already preset up some pipelines if something went wrong, but let me create new one. So creating pipeline is so simple. You can see designer. On the left side, you can see all of activities that you can use. And what we need to do, we need to find Databricks. And for example, we need to have new notebook to execute. This is in general properties. You can provide some additional information about the amount, how Data Factory should wait execution, notebook execution, some retry policy, interval between this retry, and some secure output and secure input. If you need to provide this data connection between two different systems securely. And if you need to encrypt and decrypt this information. So the second tab, you can see a linked service, and you should create, as I mentioned, linked service to Databricks. So to create this, you need to specify integration runtime. By default, this is integration runtime service, auto service that's provided by Data Factory. So everything that we are going to execute, we will use these hosted services. But in your company, probably you might have some own hosting environment. For example, you can use private links, you can use private network, etc. This is a possibility to create own runtime to execute internally without any public visibility, public accessibility to this particular runtime. And even if you have in my case, in my experience, we had a project and we had some internal resources running on premise, and for example SQL, and we needed to connect to the SQL to execute some SQL queries and get some data from them. And for this connection, we needed to create own runtime, proxy runtime to connect and provide the right network between cloud and on-premise, and having this connection in Data Factory. So the second one, you need to select subscription. In my case, we have this subscription. Also, we need to specify Databricks workspace. So I already have this. The next step, we have information that we need to specify what we need to do. Should we use job cluster? Should we use existing cluster, or should we have a possibility to use a pool? So in this particular case, I'd like to use existing shared clusters that I have already. And the next step is about authentication type. We can provide access token, we can provide managed service identity, and we can provide service access, user access management identity. So in our case, we use managed service identity. I already set up and provide this rights to the Databricks. And the last step, we need to specify cluster, but why it doesn't work? Let me open existing. Where is this one? Edit. Yeah, we have this cluster existing and everything we have. So we have, as I mentioned, parameters. We have advanced information, but in our case, we don't need it. So let me test in this connection and see if it works. It takes some time and we see connection successful. So the next step, what we need to have, we need to provide the right path to our notebook. Let me click browse. And we should see like a workflow, sorry, not workflow, workspace in a Databricks. Let me switch to my user. Loading. Okay, my user here. loading. And I have hello world, like a simple notebook, and click OK. So that's pretty it. Let me switch to the Databricks workspace to show what kind of notebook I have. It's so simple. Just display information, hello world, and that's it. So let me validate our pipeline. We don't see any issues here, and we have a possibility to debug this. Okay, let me start debug, and take some time, but it should be faster because we already have running cluster. Let me refresh. We can see a pipeline activity started in progress. We can see input, and we should see some detail after running this script. And you might see some information about execution, I do believe. Somewhere here. No, this is the job. Compute. Event logs. Driver healthy. Everything is up to date. And go back. We see information that our pipeline processed this information. So we have output, and we see information about output, and we also can open the results about output from a Databricks. And you see the notebook executed by, triggered by DataFactory, but executed by Databricks. So let me close this one. Just imagine we have the same notebook, and we need to execute this notebook using job compute, for example, not shared resources. Here we can use another configuration, a linked service. Let me show what is the difference. So the difference is I should create, not our DataFactory will create a job cluster with some information about cluster, with some type of cluster, etc., and execute particular notebook that I created. So let me start. First of all, let me test connection. You should see this. Everything should be connected. Yes. And let me start debugging. It will take more time because we need to create a setup job compute, but let's see what we see in here. Okay. This is compute, job compute. And you see job just started from a data factory. If I open this, we can see the same configuration that we set up in a data factory, like the same called Databricks runtime version, the same type of workers, the same compute resources, everything that's the same. And you see it start and processing. So it takes some time because we need to set up this compute to execute job compute, and we will see the results. But what I'm going to show you here, that is, just imagine we have some specific custom policy. Here we just executed standard job compute and specify standard configuration. But just imagine Let me go to the policy. I specially created custom job policy. If I go inside, we can see like the same, nothing specific except one configuration that I provided, default value of a node type. Not everything is available for my subscription, and I specified compute resources for this custom policy, and I need to create a job with this based on this policy. How can I do it from a data factory? Let me go to the data factory. First of all, I need to stop. Let me stop this one. Cancel. And this job, let me terminate. Nothing specific. So what I need to do, first of all, I need to create linked service, or if you have one, we need to edit. I created additional linked service to Databricks, and let me open edit. What I need to do, because here we don't have any options to provide, let's say, policy. First of all, we need to go to the policy, created policy, and copy paste ID of this policy. The second one, like two ways. First one, we can open advanced and create type parameters, create policy ID, and be aware of the right name convention, upper, low, and etc. So definitely you need to follow this logic, and you will not find anything officially. And you need to provide this particular custom policy ID. And that's it. This is one way. Another way, you can go to the manage linked service and find your linked service and open like a code. And here you can provide the same functionality, not only policy and other configuration that you need. So in this case, when I go back to my pipeline and select with the custom policy, let me debug this, execute this pipeline. What we can see here in a job compute. Let's see. It's executed. Not. Yes, in progress. And let's refresh the page. Yeah. You can see like a new job compute is set up in, and you see our policies that we predefined as an additional configuration in this particular case. So that works, and that's it what I wanted to show. Let's switch to the presentation. I have something more. So we have in a data factory, we have a different type of pipeline triggers. For example, you can trigger pipeline by some scheduler. For example, every night, once a day, once a minute, doesn't matter. So you can trigger some pipelines based on this scheduler. Also, we have some periodic intervals that you can trigger pipelines depending on the data loads. Also, you can trigger pipelines based on event-based activities. For example, trigger pipeline when some files arrives in some folders, for example, in some blob storage, etc. And also, you can create custom event triggers. You have a special event custom activities. For example, you can use grid event hub and provide more custom event-driven architecture in your triggering pipeline. So these 4 parameters, 4 options, I would say, you can use when you go into create some triggering automatic starting these particular pipelines that you have in a data factory. Let me show how you can do it. Let's go back to the data factory. And first of all, I already created, I do believe, some. This is a job execution. This is a Python, probably Python custom policy. Yeah, I have a trigger. So how, just imagine we have a pipeline. It's not like one activity, it's like a multiple activities. And this just simple pipeline, a simple Python script. We have a Databricks custom policy. We have a path to our pipeline, to our Python script. So we need to trigger this pipeline based on some activity, some let's say scenario what we have. In our case, we have blob container, and let me go back to the storage account. Let me show this. We have blob containers. Just imagine when we have some files arrived to this particular blob container, we need to trigger this our pipeline in a data factory. How we can do it? So first of all, and above you can see triggers. We can create new one or edit existing one. I already have existing one. Let me go and show you. So what we need to provide? We need to provide the name. We need to provide the type of triggers. Also, we need to provide some information how we can connect and about events. Once we have a blob created, we can trigger this pipeline, or once we have blob deleted, we can execute this our pipeline. And also we can have some logic how blob pass or how blob will be named, and in this particular case we can trigger or not trigger our pipeline. And that's pretty it. Nothing specific. Let me go to the storage and upload some files. Okay, I have some prepared files. Oops, sorry. Let me upload this file. Drag and drop works only here. And upload. Okay, we have a file here. Let me go back to the monitor and see if it trigger our pipeline. Triggers run. No. It should work. Let me check if we have a job compute execution. No. Okay, probably no, it's not these changes. Okay, what we have here? Interesting. Okay, no worries. Let me check. Yes, we have new files here, and let me publish everything here and double check our triggers configuration. Everything published, and we have triggers here. This is our trigger started. Okay, should work. Our files, everything started. Make sure the filters is okay. Even we have a file, so everything started. And publish everything. Okay, let's see. Yes, this is a publishing. And go back to our triggers. So we have a pipeline. Let me delete. Let me create another file and upload. 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 Okay, file uploaded. Monitor. Oh, yeah, our trigger just started. You can see trigger started. And I do believe pipeline also started. Yeah, you can see Python custom policy pipeline started. And when we go to the Databricks, we see job compute just started and processed our Python script. So it works. Probably I needed to publish these changes and after all it started working. Anyway, let's go back to the presentation and what we have else. So regarding the bulk data processing, so we have a different type of activities to manage your data. First of all, we have a copy activity, and this is so simple and let's say straightforward activity. You have a source, you have a target or sink. You need just to configure and map scheme, data scheme that you need to transfer from one source to another destination. For complexity, it's not complex, I would say. And this is there are a lot of, let's say, configuration. You can provide retry policy, staging. You can provide some compression, etc., partition even. And this is a good for a large data transition as is. If you don't need to provide some specific transformation during the data migration. Also, we have a mapping data flow. This is a little bit complex, but you can transform data during the copy. You can, for example, change the column, provide an additional column based on some specific calculation and logic. So this is something that you can use in a mapping data flow activities. And also we have a simple storage procedure. This is simple storage procedure that you have in a SQL and you need to execute, and that's it. Nothing specific. And we have a custom activity scripts that also you can use, like use cases pre and post copy. For example, you copy your data, and after all, you need to execute some logic, just update some, I don't know, status, and you can execute this script activity and provide some custom business logic as a result. So all of that, let me back to our portal. Let me open my pipeline. So I have a simple pipeline and I use Delta Share. Let me go back to the our data warehouse and see that everything works. So we have a serverless Delta Share, and let me open up and see what we have in a catalog. So we have samples in a Delta Share, and we have some tables that we will use. For example, I'm going to use some customer table, and the initial idea get some data from a data share and send this data to my in my case to my SQL. So in a SQL, so we have a first of all, what we need to do, we need to execute notebook, and let me open up this file what we are planning to execute in a data factory, sorry, in a Databricks, just to show this a simple notebook, nothing specific, just to connect to the Delta share using SQL and select this data, and I select just 10 rows and that's it, providing this in a JSON format. And this is something that we need to have as output in a data factory. So, and nothing more. So let's go back to the data factory. Once we have this data in JSON, we use for each activity, and inside for each we have a custom activity, script activity. And in custom activity, what we can see a linked service. First of all, this is linked service to our SQL database. Let me open up and show you. So this is, you might see linked service, SQL database. We use the same runtime. We have some configuration to the database that we use, and probably that's it, nothing specific. Also, we have a query that we need to execute in our custom script. So this is simple query, just show you insert into customers. We have a table in a SQL, and this is information that we can get from a Delta share when we start our for each cycle and send this data to the SQL. Let me also show you SQL. We should have SQL database. And I do believe we can open, yes, query. Let me connect to the SQL database. I think it's serverless. It should be take some time to start this instance. Come on. And what else I need to show you? Yes, this is additional activities I just disabled, just to show how we copied this data from a Delta share, from this particular Delta share catalog. Yes, still working. Yes, we open our SQL database, and we have a customers table. Oh, we have a data here. I just tested it before, but let me remove this data from customers. Okay, we remove everything. Yes, it's empty. So let me start debug, and it should be faster because we are planning to use a shared pool that should run every time and copy the data. Okay, this started to execute this prepared notebook from a Databricks. Okay, we have a page to our Databricks. to see that started. Okay. Still empty. Come on. Works. SQL, yes. Delta share still working. And yes, you see. So we have successful retrieving the data from our Delta share. You can see as output the JSON, and we start our for each to insert row by row in our SQL, and we have everything executed. And when we go back to the SQL, we see this information as this. This is our custom script. It works perfectly without any issues, but if we have, let's say, 1,000 million billion records, and we need to copy to our another destination, for example, to SQL in our case, this particular custom script will execute, I don't know how much time, but it's not the right way to do it. So for this, definitely we need to use copy activity. And I have another example. Let me deactivate this one and activate this and this. So in this particular case, what we have a little bit complex scenario. In a first iteration, we have a for each, the same for each, the same data we are going to use, but the difference is we need to create this, for example, data in a table, first of all, and I'm going to show you our storage account, and we have a specific table in a storage account customers. So this is a table that we are going to use to populate the data that we have and retrieve from a Delta share from a Databricks. And after all, once we have this data, we have a other scripts or activity called copy data or copy activity. And in this particular case, we copy the data from a table, storage table, to our SQL. And in SQL, we have okay, we have a additional table. A moment. Called customers from a storage. Let me check if yes, it's empty. So let me go back to the data factory. So we have activity to insert data to the storage table called web service. And this is a web service provides some information. You need to know what you need to provide. So first of all, you need to provide URL. A URL, it's specific URL that you need to have when you create SaaS token. So in a storage account, to create SaaS token, you need to find the proper table that you need to have an access to, and generate this token. Token generates the URL with SaaS token with some additional attributes, and you need to set up this URL here. Next parameter is method. You need to select post. If you need to update tables, you need to use put. And in our case, we insert the data. And actual body. What we need to specify, what we need to populate in our storage table. So we have a partition key. We'll call this customer data. We have a row key. We specify what kind of row key we can use. We can have timestamp, be like our timestamp, and address and phone and comment. So these columns that we need to use to populate storage table. And some headers. content type and accept. And that's it, nothing more. In a copy activity, as I mentioned, we have a source and sink. Source, we need to specify our source data set. In our case, it will be storage table. Let me open this and show you. So we have a specific storage table and we specify existing table, the simple linked service, nothing more. Account key, specify our storage name, storage account key to connect to this particular table, and that's it. And in sink, we have another dataset called SQL table customer. And this is the same what we did previously, like the same information about how to connect to the SQL. And we have some write behavior, what we need to do. So in our case, we need to insert data as is what we have. We definitely can specify some table options. We are planning to use existing, but we can create a table from a data factory as well. And some scenario pre-copy scripts that, for example, if you need to have some simple transformation, you can create the script here. Nothing specific. And there are more options like a mapping. If you have a specific custom data mapping and source has own data columns, destination has slide another one, and using this, let's say, conversation settings, you can map column by column and specify what you need to and how you need to copy. And probably that's it. Yes, we have some parallelism, we have some login enable, etc. So let me check if still, yes, server is still working. Let me debug this. In this case, as I mentioned, first of all, we run run notebook, the same notebook that we ran previously. And we are going to have to get this data from a Delta share, copying this data to storage. First of all, to the storage table, and after all, next step, copying this data to the SQL table that we have. So first step is retrieving the data from a Delta share. Yes, it takes some time, one more time, to process the data. Here we have a, let me open storage account and SQL. Okay. Oh, already processed. Okay. While I'm opening, is everything processed? So, yes, storage account, our customer, you see this information in our storage table, everything that we populated here. And also we have our SQL table. Let me check if everything populated. And select this one, and you see the same information in a SQL table that we populated using copy activity. Let's go back to the data factory and see what we have. So we have the same logic, like row by row to the storage table, but we have a copy activity. And this is an interesting fact that you can monitor some details. So you can see information about this transferring data from a storage account to the SQL database. You can see the data, how much data we read, how much data written, what kind of connection, what kind of throughput, everything you see in this interesting statistic using this copy activity. And it works very fast with a large data. If you have, as I mentioned, million data, better to use this particular activity to copy data from one source to another one. So that's probably it that I would like to show. And let me go back to the last slide. So this is a reference that you can start reading and playing with these particular platforms, Databricks and DataFactory. Azure Databricks provides some, as far as I know, trial subscription, like up to 14 days. And you can play with different type of custom compute resources for free. And DataFactory also have some trial version, as far as I know. So you can play with these platforms and look everything that you want. And also reference about bulk operations as well. So thanks for your attention, and I hope you get some new information for you, and looking forward to see you next time. Have a good one. Bye bye.